Hey Libby, I loved your last video about all these ice cream trucks in DC, your memories of Captain Cookie and the Milkman as a kid, and your short little thought experiment of how you would run an ice cream truck in the future. But I know what you're really thinking. Nice Crocs. But socks? Why did I buy them? I don't know. Maybe it's because they're comfortable, maybe it's because an ex-girlfriend wanted me to get a matching pair, maybe it's because I had a particularly good day, but the real answer is, I probably just wanted to at the time. And that's a really unsatisfactory answer, but I think that it kind of explains why we see all these ice cream trucks in DC. And I think part of the reason it's weird is because it's an indication that this place that was constructed in Washington, DC, is now catered towards all these tourists. It's supposed to be the capital of our nation, but a lot of the businesses that we visibly see on the street are sustained by foreigners or people who come to visit. Like you and I did, except we didn't really get ice cream. But another reason why it's a little bit unsettling and a little unsatisfactory is because it kind of doesn't make intuitive sense. I know that statistics isn't an intuitive thing for most people, myself very much included, but it's just weird. There's a whole branch of academics, there's a whole industry based on marketing, right? To try and explain why people should buy something and why something has been bought, or why people do things for that matter, in terms of like in the lens of consumerism. But at the end of the day, when I look at a lot of things that I do, I just do it because I want to. Maybe there's these higher level explanations, but I think we're just a lot simpler than that. I think we're a lot more random than that. And when we aggregate all this data and we look across like 10,000 different people, then maybe we have a chance of plucking out, oh, this is the meta reason that we're doing this. It's also weird when we learn about this metadata and that changes what we do tomorrow. If I, for example, learned that 60% of people who wear Crocs with socks are psychopaths, then maybe I would not want to wear this again. Maybe this is, all right, it's a bad fashion choice, but that might force me to never do that again. But I think a weirder part about the DC example is that it's not something that you and I are completely removed from, right? The people who own the truck and also journalists online have basically tried to say that yes, there are a lot of food trucks and particularly ice cream trucks in DC, and the reason behind that is because there's a lot of demand for this. But it's weird when that's the answer and you're part of the answer, because we are essentially a small drop in the market. And if we think it's weird, and we probably think that the people we know it's weird, it's unsettling to know that that collective decision is completely different from what we feel. I want to talk about a story that I remember when I was growing up. I think it was around 2008, 2007, and my dad had bought this Garmin GPS. I was a little kid, so I don't remember how revolutionary this thing was, but I also remember a time when my parents would print out a list of Yahoo Maps instructions. Maybe it was Google Maps, I think it was Yahoo Maps, and they would kind of filter through that as they were driving somewhere on a road trip. And obviously we use like Google Maps these days, but it was pretty revolutionary at the time, right? It allowed you to change your route as you were driving, get an ETA on the spot, and then also check for traffic. It's crazy because I can't really put myself in the perspective of a driver where I'd have to use solely just like a map and then estimate the time that it would get there. But it's really interesting because you get to see all of this aggregated traffic data, whether it's from, and I assume this is from other users, which is how Google Maps gets like traffic information. Maybe they have like satellite images. I don't know how Google does this, but basically they have aggregate data on other people that are driving on this road that you're going to be on, right? And to me, that's crazy that we have the foresight to be able to do that, but also the fact that we have access to that kind of information. We've had this information for 15 years. We've known, hey, on this route, a little chunk of my route is red and it's gonna be slow. And I don't know a single person who enjoys traffic, but there's this thing that a friend said to me once, and it was that, yeah, nobody likes traffic, but chances are if you're talking about traffic, you're experiencing traffic, and if you're experiencing traffic, you are traffic. You're a part of that traffic. And it's kind of like, it's unsettling because it's kind of like your example of the DC food trucks, because we're part of market demand, or market demand, whatever the hell that means. And yet we don't seem like we're attached to it. We don't seem like we have a say in it. And it's also the same case with traffic, because we make up traffic, and when we get stuck, we cause the person behind us to get stuck. And even if we have this collective information that for the next 5 minutes on this highway, we're gonna experience heavy traffic, we don't really do anything about it. We just say, hey, we're stuck here. I don't know what the solution to traffic is, but I think it'd be really interesting to see if there was a way to encourage like collective behavioral change along areas of high traffic. Like, is it even possible to just have a Google notification on Google Maps be like, hey, for the next 5 minutes, we're gonna be going, starting and stopping, going at like an average of 10 miles, 5 miles an hour. How about everybody just goes at like 3 miles an hour? How about we just like smooth it? We don't use our brakes. Could that solve traffic? I don't know. Maybe that introduces a whole slew of other problems that we have. But I just think it's interesting that we have this collective data, and we have insight on this collective data, and we know going into it that there will be traffic, and yet we're just stuck there. I wonder if we have more power to change that. Yeah, I should get out of this kids' playroom before it gets a little too weird, but I will see you next week, Libby. Bye.